just need your love alone. Put your arms around me, and I'm home. We'll chase our dreams and the spotlight for the rest of our days. Live on highways and runways, always changing the pace. 'Cause when I'm with you, I'm home. Maybe we'll have it all, better than what has gone before. Baby, you'll make me fly, 'cause I was always meant to be your ride or die. We'll chase our dreams and the spotlight for the rest of our days. Live on highways and runways, always changing the pace. 'Cause when I'm with you, I'm home.
And do we need to do that? We don't. Okay. Well, welcome everyone to the 2020 City of Tacoma Park Nominating Caucus. I'm Jessie Carpenter, City Clerk for the city, and I'm happy to welcome everyone here this evening. This is definitely, we're in experimental territory right now. And as I look at the screen, I'm not sure that this screen is showing what we want it to. So if, Ed, can you make sure that the screen is showing the speaker and the ASL interpreter? That's good? Okay, because, all right. So I want to make a few introductions before we get started. We have a large crew here tonight to help us with technical matters. And so we have our city TV folks, Alvaro Calabia, Bien Martinez, and Don Pitt is here. We have the Board of Elections here, and that's Brian Ernst, Arthur David Olson, Matthew Ling, Kimberly Allen, Curtis Antonucci, and Brema Moifere, and Lori Grazio. And we also have Debbie Huffman. She's the Deputy Director of the Rec Department. We have 2 sign language interpreters here to assist this evening as well. If you have questions about the process, or if there's anything, if you have questions, please use the Q&A box and someone will answer your question. And if necessary, we'll make an announcement to the whole group. I want to take a minute to review the rules for tonight's meeting. If you are nominating or seconding the nomination of a candidate for mayor, you must be a registered voter at an address in the city of Tacoma Park. If you are nominating or seconding the nomination of a candidate for city council, You must be a registered voter at an address in their ward. When I call for nominations for an office, we'll ask you to use the hand raising function. And then after you raise your hand, we will bring you into the meeting to make your nomination or the second to your nomination. When you do speak, we'll ask that you state your name, your street and ward, and please limit remarks to 3 minutes. So as I mentioned, don't hesitate to use the Q&A box to ask questions. So we will start. The order of nominations for tonight is wards. We'll go in order, wards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then last will be nominations for the office of mayor. Many of the candidates were kind enough to send me the list of people nominating or seconding the nominations, and I'm hoping that will make things run a little bit more smoothly. In any case, we'll run through and the process will continue until the meeting is adjourned and all the nominations are completed. So the city charter requires that the attendees tonight elect a resident to serve as secretary of the meeting who will make a record of the nominations and file the record with me. Brian Ernst, who is a resident of Ward 4 and the chair of the Board of Elections, is willing to serve as secretary for tonight's caucus. We are using the poll function to take votes this evening. So the first poll will be a vote to ask if there's any objection to having Mr. Ernst serve as secretary. So the poll will ask for everyone in favor to say yes, or not in favor say no. And so I will call for a vote right now. And Curtis, can you put the poll up? Wonderful. So if you're in favor of Brian Ernst serving as secretary for tonight, please vote yes. This is great. So everyone is participating and it's much appreciated. So at this point, I would say the yeses have it, and Brian will serve as secretary for tonight's meeting, and he will make a record of the meeting tonight.
Jesse,
So,
I see your hand. I'm sorry to interrupt.
yes.
Susan has a question if we're taking questions now.
Susan, did you have a question? Hi, Sue. I thought I muted you. Try again. Hello, Sue Silber. I'm trying to unmute you to let you talk.
It was a mistake. I was voting with the hands up.
Oh, you were voting with your hand. Okay.
Yes.
So everyone knows to put any questions in the Q&A box. Okay, thank you. All right. So we could start the nominations this evening with Ward 1. Are there nominations for City Council Member Ward 1? Okay, I see a hand up. So as people identify themselves to make a nomination, we'll bring them into the meeting so they can speak. I will turn off my video. And so we have Steve Shapiro is on to make a nomination. And Steve, you should be able to turn your camera on if you wish to do so. And we have Bernard Aronson. Steve Shapiro, did you have a nomination?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, I'm Willow Avenue, Ward 1. I've lived in Tacoma Park 40 years. This is my first nominating caucus meeting, although I've been to many city council meetings. Some under Sam Abbott lasted till 2 a.m. I would like to nominate Peter Kovar. And just brief remarks are that anyone sitting on the city council or the mayor has to expect to put in long, hard hours. And I appreciate all those who have served, whether we agree all the time or not. We tend not to agree all the time. But Peter has done a fine job of serving the people of Ward 1, dedication, and it's been, and he's responsive to, very responsive to concerns here in the community. That said, the city faces issues of affordability for housing, what with taxes, with the budget. Our one previous city council member, Larry Rubin, no longer lives in Tacoma Park. He lives in Bethesda. He said, would you believe it? Because Bethesda is more affordable. And that said, I would just like to say, appreciate Peter's service and would love to see him continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Are there seconds to the nomination of Peter Kovar for Ward 1 City Council Member? So I see several hands up. I see Bernard Aronson, Sarah Lynch, and Marina Curlow. If they are all seconding, no, I see Sarah Lynch and Marina Curlow. So we're going to bring them into the meeting. All right, it takes a few minutes. And let's start with Bernard Aronson.
Okay, thank you very much. I've lived in Tacoma Park, Ward 1 for 38 years, and I've dealt with every city council member and have good things to say about all of them, but Peter really is a special case. You think about what you want in a city council member. You want somebody who's rooted in the community, who cares about his neighbors and the nature of this city, somebody who works hard, who's responsive to the constituents, and isn't in it for ego, isn't it to try to make Tacoma Park a better place to live for all its residents. And that pretty well describes Peter. I've gotten involved with him in the last 3 years in a regular basis, which continues to this day, over issues involving the construction of the new science facilities by the college. And the North Tacoma community totally supported the creation of this facility. It was good for the students, but it was a dispute about where it should be located. We wanted it along the railroad tracks in Fenton Street, not in the historic Tacoma area. And this got to be a very complicated issue. It required a lot of negotiation with multiple parties. And Peter really was the spearhead of that. He had the respect of all sides. He knew how to press an interest and look out for the community without alienating anybody. And he's smart and he's hardworking and he cares. So I enthusiastically second the nomination.
Thank you for that. And we also have, yes, Marina, hello.
Hi, my name is Marina Curlow. I live on Park Avenue, and I nominate Peter Kovar to City Council. As a young person and recent college graduate from the University of Maryland, I also appreciate Peter's approach to providing more affordable housing in Tacoma Park. I also appreciate Peter's dedication to climate change action and sustainability. Peter has a really great character, and I know other people have also mentioned that. I met Peter when I was 16, and we were both working on the same political campaign. I'm 23 now, and when we were working on the same campaign, Peter was an excellent listener. He always checked in with me, asked me how I was doing, and he's a great listener to people of all ages. He's also provided me with different opportunities, and I feel like he's very good at nurturing upcoming leaders and providing different opportunities to young people. I see Peter as very honest, caring, and he's a very fair person. Lastly, I really appreciate Peter's dedication to involving different ethnic minorities in Tacoma Park. I know he was very involved in making sure that the Tacoma Park newsletter was available in different translations, including Spanish and Arabic. And as someone who's a Hispanic woman, and I'm also an ally of the lesbian and gay communities, I feel like Peter does a great job about caring about the well-being of ethnic minorities, and he's very active in creating more minority representation and engagement in Tacoma Park City programs. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe Sarah Lynch is next.
Okay,
Okay.
there we go. Sorry about that. Good evening. Hi, I'm Sarah Lynch, 7405 Birch Avenue, Ward 1. And I'm happy to be here this evening to second the nomination of Peter Kovar to be Ward 1 City Council Representative. It's hard to fathom, but I have known Peter and Paula, his wife, for almost 3 decades. With our kids playing soccer on the same teams, we were for years inseparable carpool companions, driving back and forth across the county to cheer at multiple weekend games. We've shared joys and sorrows on election night, supported each other through work and family transitions, enjoyed many a meal together. And Chris, my husband, insisted that I add in this talk, celebrated many times the birthday of Charles Dickens, who has the distinction of sharing the same birthday as Peter and Chris. We spent a lot of time together, and I share many of the same sentiments of the previous speakers, but for me, 2 of Peter's standout characteristics are his belief in the power of government to do good and his commitment to work, and I want to underscore the word work, to make things happen, whether helping an individual resident navigate the city's bureaucracy to get a needed service, or mastering urban tree canopy, science, and policy options to help craft new city guidelines. Peter is willing to apply his considerable skills and expertise to get things done. And underpinning good governance are key elements of transparency and responsiveness. And Peter puts in a lot of hours to ensure that his constituents are aware of the issues facing the city and what's at stake. And he does this through his pre-COVID Bevco coffee hours, blogs, virtual community discussions, and individual conversations. Peter listens. He listens to others and gives constituents ample opportunity, and Paula, his wife, might think a little too ample, but nonetheless, opportunities to share concerns and opinions. In forging his positions, Peter looks to understand the issues from different perspectives and seeks consensus options in order to make forward progress. Constituents won't always agree with positions he takes, but we will know his reasons for voting the way he does. In the unimaginable times that we're living through, it's hard to find a reason for optimism, especially in the realm of the political. But in participating in this nomination process, I'm reminded of the many terrific public servants like Peter who are working night and day to serve the greater good. And I'm grateful for all of you and for all of them and for his service, and feel lucky that despite the immense challenges we face, Peter is willing to serve another term. And I'm confident that many other Ward 1 residents think so too. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lynch. Appreciate that. Are there any other seconds to the nomination of Peter Kovar? And I don't see any others. So now I will ask, are there any additional nominations for the office of City Council for Ward 1? If there are, please raise your hand. I don't see any hands. It seems that there are no additional nominations for City Council for Ward 1. And if that is the case, I'm going to ask for a vote to close nominations for Ward 1. So please vote if you would like to close nominations for Ward 1 City Council. Thank you. People are definitely I really appreciate that you're making the effort to vote this way. It's really helpful. So far, it looks like the yays have it. So we will. Are there any no's? I see one. So given that the nominations for Ward 1 City Council are now closed. Before we move on to Ward 2, I'd like to take a moment. We have a slide to show that provides information for people who are having problems getting on. And I believe that our communication specialist is going to share her screen to show a slide for how to get help if necessary and getting onto the caucus. Are you able to do that, Donna? Doesn't seem to be happening. So, okay, we will move on to Ward 2 nominations. Are there nominations for the office of City Council for Ward 2? Okay, I'm looking for hands here. Okay. Heading into the meeting, so I believe Kathy Porter, are you placing a name in nomination, Mayor Porter?
My name is Kathy Porter. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Kathy Porter. I live on Elm Avenue in Ward 2, and I am placing the name of Cindy DeBala in nomination for Ward 2 council member. I am the former mayor and a former council member in Ward 2. And those of you who remember the last nominating caucus may remember that 3 years ago, I spoke in favor of Cindy's nomination. At that time, I talked about how hard she had worked as a civic activist. And I'm very pleased to say she has been just as dedicated as a council member. One of the most difficult and the most important duties that council members have is determining a city budget. Budgets are important because they set the priorities for the city government and where the city will go in the year ahead. Budget decisions are difficult because we as residents want the city to spend money on the things that are important to us, but we also want the tax rate to remain affordable. And sometimes those two things don't fit together very well. As someone who has had to decide on many city budgets, I am impressed with how much effort and dedication Cindy has put into learning the complexities of the budget. I've also been impressed with the good judgment that she's brought to making the trade-offs required by budget decisions. As you probably know, this year has been especially difficult for the city budget because of the pandemic. Cindy has had to make a lot of hard decisions not to fund certain things that she might have wanted and to put other things on hold. Make sure that there's enough funding going forward for all the COVID-related expenses the city's going to have. But at the same time, Cindy continues to advocate for those who have been hit the hardest. For example, she has been talking to her colleagues about expanding the city's property tax credit program, a program that helps to offset the property taxes of those homeowners with the lowest incomes. But hard work and dedication aren't enough to make a good council member. A large part of a council member's responsibilities are listening to and advocating for all of the residents of her ward. One of Cindy's greatest strengths is that she listens, really listens, in her ward. She takes the needs of everyone seriously, and she is kind to everyone. I can tell you as a former council member that everyone on the council has constituents who are, shall you say, more challenging than others. But I have never heard Cindy, even in our private conversations, say an unkind word about anyone in our ward. I support Cindy because I know her to be a thoughtful, dedicated person who cares about everyone in the ward and who has the good judgment to make the best decisions on behalf of her constituents. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Porter. I believe there are seconds to the nomination of Cindy DeBala, and that would be Joan Fry and Michael Asserat and George Ashford. I think we'll welcome you into the meeting so that you can be on video.
Thank you very much. I am Joan Fry. I live on Garland Avenue in Ward 2. I thought I would start with talking just a little about myself so that you understand why I am endorsing Cindy DeBala for Ward 2 council member. I am a member of the Montgomery County Climate Planning Technical Work Group on Transportation. I'm also a member of the Tacoma Park Mobilization Environment Committee, the Electric Vehicle Association of DC, the Sierra Club, and Solar United Neighbors. I'm a solar panel user and advocate, an electric vehicle owner, and clearly committed to activism to reverse climate change. That is why I am so proud to second the nomination for Cindy DeBala as Ward 2 council member. Cindy is a committed environmentalist with a strong record both before and during her current tenure as Ward 2 rep. She has over 3 decades of water and natural resources management and policy experience at the state, local, and federal government in agencies such as the Environment Protection Agency and the Department of the Interior. Cindy also has extensive experience with nonprofit groups. For example, as founder of Sligo Creek Resources, she collaborated with renowned organizations such as the NRDC and the American Council for an Energy Efficient Economy. During her tenure at the local level, during her tenure as co-chair of the Tacoma Park Environment Committee, she worked for and achieved Sustainable Maryland certification for the city and raised $100,000 for city woodland purchases, among other activities. As a member of the City Council, Cindy has been a major point person on the Sustainability and Climate Action Plan, drafting the initial legislation and shepherding the response to community input. The second reason I support Cindy's candidacy is her strong, sustained efforts to engage all members of the Ward 2 community, and I'm echoing Kathy Porter's points to a certain extent here. Before the pandemic, Cindy held widely advertised regular in-person meetings on a regular basis in venues throughout the ward in order to hear and respond to the concerns of residents that we often do not hear from. She has continued these meetings on Zoom during the COVID crisis, making sure that people who need resources that the city can offer have access to them. We have had numerous discussions on how to build on these efforts, and her passion for engaging all residents is real, not just something to be reelected. Her CV details numerous activities that bear this out, and I'm not going to list them all. I have lived in Tacoma Park for over 20 years and have frankly never seen this level of sustained year-round commitment to reach all members of the ward from previous ward council representatives. I am proud to second Cindy's nomination and urge Ward 2 residents to vote for her. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I believe there is another person here to second the nomination. Is that Michael Asserat? I'm sorry, I'm probably saying your name wrong, but do you want to start your video and make your comments?
Okay. Yeah, thank you for giving me a chance to nominate Miss Cindy DeBala. You just correctly read my name. My name is Michael Asfred. I'm one of the residents in Tacoma Park in Ward 2, living specifically in area in between Junction Ethan Allen Avenue and New Hampshire Road. There is an area which has in a townhouse. I have 3 kids and living with my wife. The reason why I'm here today just to nominate Miss Cindy Davila to be representative for Ward 2. I've known Miss Cindy for more than 3 years while she was, working for Ethan Allen Gateway Project. The reason why just, I really want to nominate her, she has interpersonal skill, help us to interact with others effectively. She also solving our community issue in timely manner. And whenever there's a problem, she just came in and she set up several meetings, and we have discussed with her, not only with her, she just tried to set up with the City of Tacoma Park Police Commissioner, and also Maryland MCPS, Maryland School Safety, and all those stakeholders. She just organized, the meeting every time. We have had a chance to communicate with them how, how the city and how the area, it need to be livable condition. And Cindy, she has, a very special skill to just coordinate all the stakeholders as well as the resident and to address all those outstanding issues. The other quality she has, she's solving our community issue in timely manner. She follow up with us every single time through phone, through emails, and also she came in person and she just checking us. Even during the COVID-19 pandemic, she just, keeping, sending those emails to our community, how we are, how we are, going, is there someone affected? I mean, she just follow up with ours. I'm really touched by her, her, all her activities. And that is the main reason why I'm just nominating Miss Cindy Davila. So I'm confident that Miss Cindy Davila to be our ward representative. I thank you so much.
Thank you so much. George Ashford.
Thank you. I'm George Ashford, Ward 2 on Central and Jackson Avenue. When I moved to Tacoma Park in the middle of a school year, leaving my friends and childhood home halfway across the country, I was understandably nervous about what would be waiting for me. And I soon realized that I had no need to be. This city is a great place to be young. Parks abound, our streets are safe and walkable, and the rec department has an awesome variety of free programs helping ensure there's always something to do. I found myself at home in no time. When I heard about the Youth Council, I knew I should take the opportunity to help make Tacoma an even better place to grow up. I knew there was a lot of work to be done, making sure every kid in our city has easy and reliable access to those parks and rec center programs, making sure that they can find a job in their community, and making sure that their voice is heard in our city government. During my 3 years with the Youth Council, we made some progress, but much of that work remains to be done. And we need city council members that are deeply committed to that work and evidently capable of carrying it out. Cindy Davila is one of those council members. Before serving on the city council, she shaped much of the rec center's incredible youth programming as a member of the recreation committee. She was an untiring supporter of young people during her last term, always open to the youth council's advice and proposals. When we asked the city council to strengthen the city's environmental plan's timeline, she immediately offered an amendment to do just that. Cindy Davila is committed to realizing the equitable and sustainable community that our generation's future depends upon. And so with that, I second the nomination of Cindy Davila for Ward 2 City Council Member. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ashford. So I don't see any other seconds to the nomination of Cindy Davila for Ward 2 City Council. Are there any other nominations for the office of Ward 2 City Council? I'm not seeing any hands. So we'll pull up the next poll to see if the group wants to close the nominations for Ward 2 City Council member. So please vote yes to close the nominations. All right. So I would say the yeas have it, and the nominations for Ward 2 City Council are now closed. So before we go on to Ward 3 nominations, Donna Wright, our communications specialist, has a slide to share regarding how to get help to access the caucus if anyone is having problems. So hopefully you could see that. So if you're having any problems accessing the caucus, please call or text 240-610-5253. We want to make sure that no one gets left out because they can't access the meeting for some reason. So you can get help at that phone number, 240-610-5253. Call or text for assistance. Thank you so much, Donna. So we will now move on to Ward 3 City Council nominations. Are there nominations for the office of City Council for Ward 3? Right. I see the first hand that went up was Bob Dreyer. I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. We'll bring you into the meeting. It takes a moment. And if you want to turn your video on and make a nomination.
Thanks. So my name is Bob Dreyer. I live at 7122 Sycamore Avenue in Ward 3. My wife and I have lived in Tacoma Park for 35 years. I'm here to proudly nominate Ollie Swires for Ward 3 representative for the Tacoma Park City Council. I've known Ollie almost all their life, and I've watched them grow from a tenacious and headstrong kid into the passionate, hardworking, caring person they are today. I'm proud of Ollie's commitment to justice and for stepping up to offer their leadership for Ward 3. Ollie attended Tacoma Park schools, has worked in Tacoma Park small businesses, and has cultivated their understanding of social justice through documentary filmmaking and activism. She graduated from the Commonwealth University, Virginia Commonwealth University in 2016, and has worked as a filmmaker, producer, and editor, as well as working in restaurants. Ollie is committed to their neighbors' well-being and cares for this community deeply. After hearing concerns from residents and sitting in on council meetings, they have stepped up to offer new vision and leadership for Ward 3. Ollie will listen to and engage with the community in Ward 3, and they will be accountable to their constituents. They will bring values of justice and lead with integrity. I think all of us in the past few months have been learning so much from the Black Lives Matter movement. In my conversations with Ollie about these topics, it's clear they are committed to learning more and pushing themselves to understand what action is needed in this community to address police violence and racism. I'm honored to nominate them for City Council.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dreyer. Are there seconds to the nomination of Ollie Swires for City Council Ward 3? So I will promote Ms. Smith. And Ms. Smith, you could turn on your video and second the nomination.
Hello, I'm Rhiannon Smith. I live on Westmoreland Avenue in Ward 3. I grew up here. I love Tacoma Park, and I currently work as an urban farmer and a birth doula in the area. I've known Ollie for over a decade. We became friends during our first year of high school. And throughout that time, I've always admired the incredible community member and friend that they are. And I've seen their love for and commitment to this city. I've watched them volunteer their skills to various social justice issues, especially in the queer community, and dedicate their time and energy to becoming well-informed on our national and local political histories. Ollie is always ready to have the hard conversations and to search for real and equitable solutions. Their attention to detail and their bravery to do what's right, combined with their ability to recognize that all of the issues that face this community are intersectional, give me the confidence that as a council member, Ollie will do everything they can to align policy and action with Tacoma Park's deep-held, compassionate, and progressive values. And that is why I am so proud and honored to second the nomination of Ollie Swires for councilperson of Ward 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. I don't want to miss anyone. Did anyone else want to second the nomination of Ollie Swires for Ward 3 City Council? I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Okay. Are there any other nominations for Ward 3 City Council? Please raise your hand. I see Anna Keller. So Ms. Keller will bring you into the meeting. You can turn on your video.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anna Keller. My husband Jay and I have lived on Lincoln Avenue in Tacoma Park, Ward 3 for 32 years. It's an honor and a privilege to nominate Casey Kostick to represent Ward 3. We've witnessed Casey's thoughtful work on our behalf at council meetings, at community events, and in one-on-one meetings around town. She brings a sensitivity and respect for differing opinions to the council. I've been impressed by the way she looks at all sides of an issue, making a decision and explains why she made a particular decision. She wants to hear about our hopes and concerns, and she's an active and thoughtful listener. She's also an excellent communicator, sharing critical information with all her Ward 3 constituents through her weekly emails. We're lucky to have Casey to represent us and to help keep Tacoma Park the quirky, fun, compassionate, community-oriented city that it is. With enthusiasm, I strongly support her re-election. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keller. Are there seconds to the nomination of Casey Kostick for Ward 3 City Council? I see hands up. I saw Christina Fitzpatrick.
Good evening. My name is Christina Fitzpatrick. I live at 215 Manor Circle in Ward 3, and I'm very pleased to second the nomination of Casey Kostick for Ward 3 council member. I'll start by telling you about my first experience with Casey, which was a few years ago. I contacted her because I was wondering what could be done to improve the drainage on Sligo Creek Parkway, the pathway right near the bridge over Carroll Avenue. And you may know that there's a lot of water that drains off there. And so I asked her what could be done about it. And she responded really quickly, telling me that it wasn't a city issue, but it was governed by the Maryland National Capital Parks and Planning Commission, and explained to me how to get in touch with them, who I should ask for and things. And I was really impressed then. It's the little things, but it's those little things that really make set the foundation for a good relationship with constituents. She has worked actively over the past couple of years to improve civic engagement within the ward. So she launched an effort to try to revitalize several of the neighborhood associations in the ward. That's really improved people's abilities to meet their neighbors, get to know them, share concerns and interests, and just make the community the friendlier place to be. And then the final thing I want to do in nominating her is to emphasize her thoughtfulness and her transparency. As Anna mentioned, Casey is really committed to understanding different perspectives on an issue. She's a great listener. And then once she's made a decision, she's excellent at being able to explain her reasoning. She's very forthright about it and willing to have a conversation with anybody who wants to understand it better. She's very patient and very respectful, and has done a great job of keeping all of us informed and of seeking out our advice. Plus, she's just a really pleasant person to work with, always has a smile, and always helps to demonstrate that she has a lot of joy about this community and brings that to her work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Did anyone else want to speak as a second to the nomination of Casey Costick? I'm not seeing other hands. I just want to be sure I don't miss anyone. All right. Are there any other nominations for the office of City Council Member for Ward 3? Please raise your hand if there are any other nominations. I don't see any. So I'm going to ask for a vote as to whether or not to close the nominations for Ward 3 City Council. So mainly there's support for, seems we are hearing support for closing the nominations. So the nominations for Ward 3 City Council Member are now closed. So we will move on to Ward 4. Are there, I'm sorry, hold on for a moment here. Are there nominations for the office of City Council Member for Ward 4? All right, so I see hands up, so they're being brought into the meeting.
Thank you. My name is Eli Protus. I've been a Ward 4 community member on Ritchie Avenue for most of my life, and I'm proud to nominate Terry Siemens for the Tacoma Park City Council Ward 4 position. Terry's goals for the upcoming term, namely providing COVID-19 community assistance, reimagining public safety, and rethinking affordable housing are important ones for Tacoma Park, and I am fully confident in Terry's dedication and ability to tackle these issues. In my work with Terry, I've seen him to be a dedicated and committed public servant, a community leader, and somebody that people in Ward 4 and around the Tacoma Park community know for his compassion and caring for the community. I believe fully in his determination to deal with the incredibly unique and difficult challenges of this time and to truly listen to and work with the Tacoma Park community to create change. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Protus. Are there, I see that there are seconds to the nomination, and if they can be brought into the meeting and have an opportunity to speak, I see Janet Williams and then Gladys Harvey. Ms. Williams, are you able to turn on your video and speak?
There we go. No problem. Sorry about that. I didn't know that it was going to allow me to do both. I'm Janet Williams. I live in Tacoma Park. I've been in Ward 4. I've lived in Ward 4 for about 15 years. I live at the Tacoma Phoenix condos on Maple Avenue in Ward 4. I met Terry and by extension Joyce shortly after moving to Tacoma Park in 2005. And coincidentally, it was at a weekly city meeting. I was curious about how to become more involved in our community. So after speaking with him, I knew I bumped into the right person to ask that question. With a smile, Terry immediately helped me join the Ward 4 Community Action Group. And as they all say, the rest is history. Terry lives and breathes service stewardship. He's always looking for ways to improve the human condition of his constituents as well as individuals within our city. Just a small sampling of the things that he's done. He's driven people to election polls during election day. He's helped set up share food for the elderly and infirmed. He's assisted constituents in finding homes and jobs, and the list just goes on and on. Terry has always been an ally for everyone in our community. It doesn't matter their station in life, their color, their gender, etc. We need more people in Ward 4 and the world for that matter with Terry's spirit and tenacity. So with that said, I'm here today to second the nomination of Terry Seaman as Ward 4 City Councilman.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Gladys Harvey, would you like to speak as a second to the nomination of Terry Seamans for Ward 4 City Council?
Yes, I would. My name is Gladys Harvey, and I live at Ritchie Avenue, and I second to nominate Mr. Terry Seaman because Mr. Terry Seaman is an awesome person. He goes up and down the Toma Park, delivering food to people in the rain, the storm, any kind of weather that's out here. Him and his wife, Joyce Seaman, they are awesome people. And I live next door to them and I see them. Every time you see them, the car is going up the street or down the street to somebody's house, delivering food, taking care of people, moving people, if people in fires or people put out on that street, or they need food, or they need clothes, or the house need to be cleaned up. Mr. Terry and Miss Joyce Seaman is right there to help everybody. And I nominate him because he's such a wonderful person. His wife is such a wonderful person. And I just nominate him because he's such a good person. It's not enough words for me to say about these two people and the good work that they do for this community, and how they work for Mount of Food, and how they work for all the food banks around to help all the people in Tacoma Park. And I nominate him, and I say thank you, Mr. Terry and Ms. Jones.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. It's nice to hear you. So are there additional people who wanted to speak as a second to the nomination of Terry Seamans for Ward 4 City Council? I see Joshua Okoji had a hand up. Did you want to speak? Or was that a mistake? Joshua, did you want to speak?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So my name is Joshua Koje, and I would like to second the nomination for Terry Seamans. I'm an immigrant. So when I came into the country 2018, and while I was doing my master's, Terry Seamans was the first person I met with in the library, and he got to talk to me and gave me directions on how to get that angle sorted out. And I've been seeing him in the service community where they handle the charity, where they give people food, clothing, and housing. So with that, he's my best candidate for this nomination. So I would like to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Okoji. I appreciate you taking the time. I'm forgetting to ask people to say what street they live on. Can you do that quickly? If you're still here? Nope. I missed my chance with that. I'm going to show the slide for people who need assistance one more time. So Donna, if you could pull up the slide quickly. So again, if anyone's having problems accessing the meeting, call or text 240-610-5253. I just want to make sure no one is getting left out. Again, 240-610-5253 for assistance accessing the meeting. Thank you so much, Donna Wright. I appreciate your help with this. All right. Are there any additional nominations for the office of City Council Ward 4? I'm not seeing any hands. Did anyone else wish to nominate a candidate for Ward 4 City Council? It appears not. We will put up the poll again, and I would ask the group if nominations for the office of Ward 4 City Council should be closed. We'll give you a chance to weigh in on this. And apparently there are no objections, and so the nominations for Ward 4 City Council are now closed. So we will move on to Ward 5 next. Are there nominations for City Council for Ward 5? I see several hands up. And the first one that went up is Troy Jacobs, and then we have Keith Berner, Ruben Snipper. Mr. Jacobs, did you have a nomination?
Can you hear me?
Yes, and you could turn on your video if you'd like. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you hear me and see me, Jesse?
Yes, I can hear and see you.
Okay. Hopefully everyone else can too as well. This is Troy Jacobs, Flower Avenue, Ward 5. I have lived here for over 13 years, and I am proud to nominate tonight Sawa Kamara as a candidate for Ward 5 City Council. A Ward 5 resident and community activist, she shows the energy and willingness to learn, adapt, and reach all of Ward 5, things that we desperately need in the midst of the COVID health crisis, a crisis that is rapidly reshaping the way we work and live. While we have touted the cultural diversity of our city, Sawa is the first African immigrant woman to run for City Council. We have allowed non-US citizens to vote in our city elections since the early 90s, I believe, but have failed to elect someone from our immigrant communities to City Council. This could be the first time. We have much more to do to ensure that immigrant residents fully participate in our political process. I am encouraged by the voices that I hear tonight. Ward 5 is certainly a great place to start in that process. I'm appreciative of all the City Council members' work, and this includes Jarrett's 8 years on City Council. Unfortunately, the issues of our ward have been seriously neglected, I feel, in the larger Tacoma Park discussions. We are now in a crisis. Having a contested race provides the opportunity to bring greater visibility and allows us to refocus on issues of Ward 5. In the last 3 years since the election, our ward has seen hundreds of jobs associated with the hospital relocate outside the city. We have seen Ward 5 businesses close, like Lee Cleaners and Manna Restaurant. We have seen the safety and health of our resident essential workers jeopardized, whether they are taxi drivers, health workers, or store owners. We have problems of affordable housing. The numbers have not increased, and educating our kids is really quite a challenge, particularly this year, as I think many of us will agree. We have longstanding problems in the ward of food insecurity. This is a time to do more, not less. I am sure that Tacoma Park's best days are yet to come. This is a time of great need to do more in Ward 5. With this crisis, we need to embrace new voices that represent the future voice of Tacoma Park. Sawa is this voice, Sawa for all of Tacoma Park 5 residents. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there seconds to the nomination of Sawa Kamara for Ward 5 City Council? And I see some hands. I think that I see Keith Berner and Ruben Snipper. So Keith Berner, Mr. Berner, would you like to, there you are.
Here I am.
There you are.
So I'm Keith Berner, and I thought earlier this evening that when I said I'm 20 years on Flower Avenue in Ward 5, that would sound impressive. But with all the people who've been around for 35 or 40 years, I feel like a new kid on the block. I'm proud to second the nomination for Sawa Kamara to be on City Council. She's got energy and vision for inclusiveness, proving the lot of the disadvantaged, and for bringing our ward forward. Now, Troy mentioned that she would be the first immigrant to serve on City Council. I believe that she would be the first, or certainly the first in a long time, renter to serve on City Council. And we need that perspective. In fact, it's the renters in our community who are generally the people more in need. And Sawa can speak for them. She lives in their community. She is one of them, but she's also one of the rest of us. She's working hard to meet people around the ward as a new candidate. She also comes from a background of social and civic activism, from organizing her community to get a cleanup, to delivering meals through local nonprofits, and working in general for a better life for people who need it. I'm pleased and proud to endorse Sawa Kamara and hope that you'll vote for her. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ruben Snipper is next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ruben Snipper. I live at 705 Erie Avenue, Tacoma Park, and I'm here to nominate or second the nomination of Sawa Kamara. I've lived in Tacoma Park since the early 1980s, and I've learned what makes a great candidate for Ward 5, and Sarah is it. I got that reinforced when I was on the city council during the 2008 and following years Great Recession, and I learned some things about what it takes. You need someone who can analyze a situation or a piece of legislation or a proposal or an idea quickly. They have to be able to talk to the community. I'll say more about that in a minute. They have to be able to quickly develop an initial position on that. And they need to share that with the ward so that they can be transparent. They can not only find out what other people know. Tacoma Park is full of really active, engaged people, in some cases, national experts on topics. And there's no reason not to draw on that kind of expertise. And it's certainly true in Ward 5. And you need someone who will tell you what their initial positions are, what their initial thinking is, get reactions to it, share it with the ward. You want someone who will represent the ward, develop a consensus opinion from the ward. And finally, you need someone who can lobby successfully on the council. It's not enough just to stake out a position if you can't convince a majority of the council to vote with you. Sawa has done this, and this is what she would do. We need someone who can talk to homeowners. We need someone who can talk to renters, minorities, immigrants, people who are young, people who are old, people who are more involved in the city and people who are less involved, people who don't have the time to do very much. We need all of those people. We need someone who can talk to them, the full range of diversity in Ward 5 and Tacoma Park for that matter. And Sawa does this. You know, the recession is only going to get worse in Tacoma Park because of our funding, the way our funding works. And so we need someone who can come up with creative and equitable ideas for how to do this, how to confront this, how to save money, how to preserve what needs to be preserved, absolutely needs to be preserved, and to focus on that. And whether it's restructuring any departments, the police department, the recreation department, whatever, Sawa is the one who's had community experience. Several of the other people have already talked about her experience, so I won't talk about that. But we need somebody who is knowledgeable about local housing issues, health disparities. She's worked on both of these. These haven't been mentioned. And I'll just conclude with Ward 5, especially as one of the less, less active wards, I guess I would say. We need a strong, active, progressive leader, someone who is always looking to improve Ward 5, always. And Sawa is that person. So I encourage you to vote for Sawa in the coming election. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Snipper. I just received an email from one of the crew saying you exceeded your 3 minutes. So we are trying to pay attention to that. So thank you so much. There was one more second to the nomination, Melanie Roberts. Ms. Roberts, did you want to turn on your video and make any remarks?
Yes, I would like to second that motion. I am the neighbor of Sawa, and all the things that have been said without taking up any additional time, since that is of essence, is in total agreement from me, because I see that not just on paper, not just in terms of the revelation that have played out here, but day to day, I see her work tirelessly in the community, and her efforts are definitely not going unknown.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. I see no additional seconds to that nomination. Are there additional nominations for the office of City Council Member for Ward 5? Please raise your hand if so. I'm looking to see some hands raised for City Council Member Ward 5. I see Jackie Frazier. Hello, Ms. Frazier. You're welcome to turn on your video if you want, and if not, that's fine, and you can unmute yourself and you can make a nomination if you wish. Ms. Frazier, are you having technical problems? Hello.
Hi. My name is DeQuette Frazier, and I live on Maple Avenue at the Access House. It is my pleasure to nominate Councilmember Jared Smith. I've worked with Councilmember Smith on incredible programs for our young people. Some of you know that I'm the Executive Director of Lunch and Learn, and we've just celebrated our 8th year. We're the largest summer farms program in Montgomery County. And when I started, Jared was right by my side when it was groundbreaking. I believe that he has been influential on the young programs that we have. He sponsored funds that provide scholarships to students at Montgomery College. And I just found out that he's starting to do distribution of food to apartment buildings on Houston and Flower. He's attended our Tenants Association meetings. He always comes to ice cream socials to find out if there's any needs that the Ward 5 community, especially the residents of Exodus House. He's always wanted to make a difference. We have a number of challenges before us: COVID-19, economic pain for residents, and social unrest. Councilmember Smith is the leader to meet the challenges head on. I asked all Ward 5 residents to support our proven leader. I have worked continuously with him on what we can do to improve the ward. Jared has experience and leadership qualities that we need during this challenging time. We are all feeling the uncertainty of COVID-19, and as I said, the economic pain and protests that make Black Lives Matter. And I have to say that it is so important for children of color to enhance their education, and I believe that he can make a difference in this ward. Please vote for Jared Smith for Ward 5. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Frazier. Appreciate that. I believe there should be someone who had agreed to second the nomination of Jarrett Smith for Ward 5 City Council. And I think maybe there are some technical problems. So give me just a moment and make sure we have the people who have agreed to do this. If you wish to second the nomination of Jarrett Smith for Ward 5 City Council, please raise your hand. So we are in Ward 5 City Council, so I'm looking for Ward 5 residents here. And I believe, just a moment, let me check my notes, please. Okay, is Gannett Casa in the meeting? Let's see. So I see a hand raised, but I can't. Okay, not Jackie. Is Gannett Casa in the meeting? Would you, did you agree to speak as a second for the nomination of Jarrett Smith? If you'd like, you can unmute yourself and you can be on video if you like to make your comments. Hi, if you're having technical problems, could you put a question in the Q&A box because we're not hearing anything.
Jesse?
Yes.
It's Lori. We've got, it looks like we've got in the Q&A box a Melanie Roberts on Eastridge Avenue.
Okay.
But I'm not seeing anyone else communicating to me that they are having a problem.
Okay. So we are going to bear with us. We're going to pause for a moment and try to make sure Melanie is in the meeting. Okay, Melanie. Melanie Roberts, are you in the meeting?
Looks like she's
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
Oh,
yes, I'm losing connection, but yes, it was to make sure that I got accounted for Sawa.
Oh,
Okay, sorry. I
okay.
lost connection, so I was back and I don't know if I gave my address. Sorry.
You're fine. Yeah, you're taken care of. Thank you. Gotcha. Okay. So we are going to pause with the Ward 5 nominations because I think there is a technical problem that that needs to be resolved. And I'm going to ask your indulgence to move on to Ward 6 so that we can resolve the problems with Ward 5. Okay, so so we're going to move on to nominations for Ward 6 City Council member. We will step back for, oh, I think, did I just see AJ Campbell? Okay. AJ, can you unmute? Okay.
Yes,
Good.
the system keeps crashing out. And
I'm so sorry.
yeah, so every time I try to type something or anything, the computer just sets me out of the system. So
Very
I
sorry.
apologize for that. I second the nomination of Jared Smith for City Council. I'm on Roanoke Avenue.
Yes, thank you for that.
I'm an avid supporter of Jared. He has been a champion for the causes that I believe in. He is fighting for universal internet connection in his ward. He is bringing together members of his community. He's reaching people where they are. He's has the connections at the Montgomery County level to bring services to Ward 5. And he has been just an outspoken advocate for the ward as long as I have known him. He is just amazing, and I wholeheartedly endorse him for City Council.
Thank you. I appreciate you stepping in. So are there any other seconds to the nomination of Jared Smith for Ward 5 City Council? I don't see any other hands right now. So let's put up the poll to see, no, wait a minute, before we do that, are there any other nominations for Ward 5 City Council? I want to make sure I haven't missed anything here. I don't see any other nominations. So would the group please weigh in on the poll to let me know if you agree with closing the nominations for Ward 5 City Council at this point. Okay. So it looks like the group is in favor of closing these nominations for Ward 5 City Council. So now we can move on to Ward 6. And I see, after I announced Ward 6, I saw Kelly Skelton. So Ms. Skelton, do you have a nomination?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. My name is Kelly Skelton, Ward 6 resident of Glenside Drive. I just want to take a moment to thank our Tacoma Park City staff for conducting this meeting under these odd conditions and for addressing that technical glitch. It's really important that all voices are represented in Tacoma Park. So I thank you for addressing that. Even though we are the last of the wards, we are certainly not least, and neither is our council person, Talisha Searcy. 3 minutes would not be enough to fully detail all the virtues and values of our Ward 6 council person. She is a tireless advocate for Ward 6 and for Tacoma Park as a whole. She is open, honest, and dedicated to her role. She is adept at handling requests from constituents that come at her at all hours of the day and night. Everything you can imagine and more: down trees, playgrounds, speed bumps, half down trees, traffic concerns, purple line, community centers, newly planted trees, sidewalks, businesses, and of course, trees that might one day fall down. She has engaged tirelessly to ensure that the Purple Line benefits the current Tacoma Park residents and businesses, and that its impact does not drive away any businesses during its construction. She has committed to learning about the needs of the residents of Ward 6 and its small businesses, and is not afraid to let the rest of the city know, and the council when they need, to be reminded that Ward 6 is really the economic engine of Tacoma Park, even when we are sometimes forgotten about. I've worked closely with Talisha since I moved to Tacoma Park, first as our neighborhood association president, where she held the best fundraisers and social events that we've ever had before or since, and then as a member of the city council, where she brings the needs of our community to the forefront of every council meeting. I've most recently worked with her when she solicited input from the community on the budget itself and also its presentation, seeking to make it easier for constituents to understand. Her concern for our community's ability to thoughtfully engage in civic matters is only one of the attributes that make Talisha an ideal representative of our ward. As I've said, and I'm sure others will agree, Talisha is a great asset to Tacoma Park and to Ward 6. It is my pleasure to nominate her for another term as our Ward 6 council person and to urge all Ward 6 residents to vote for her in our upcoming election. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Skelton. Are there seconds to the nomination of Talisha Searcy for Ward 6 City Council? I see Hannah. And I see Daryl Alexander. And so we'll bring you into the meeting. And Hannah, you can. All right.
Thank you, Jesse. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Good evening. My name is Hannah Gaydonay, and I live on Wildwood Drive in Ward 6. I have the pleasure this evening to second Kelly's nomination of Talisha Searcy for Ward 6 City Council person. I've gotten to know Talisha over the past 5 years living in this community, first as the president of our neighborhood association, where she provided amazing leadership and vision, as Kelly mentioned, and then as our city council member for the past 4 years. As our council member, Talisha has worked tirelessly for this community, speaking up at meetings and other events to raise the profile of our ward and the unique needs and challenges of this part of Tacoma Park. She is approachable and responds quickly to residents' emails and needs. She is passionate about finding solutions. I honestly don't know how she gets it all done with such patience and grace, and always with a smile and just a great attitude. She represents a diverse and engaged segment of the city and has used her voice and role to push for rec center funding, improved playgrounds, and strategies for responding to the Purple Line construction. I thank Talisha for her service and am honored to second the nomination, and I encourage my fellow Ward 6 residents to vote for her. Thank you.
Thank you. Daryl Alexander.
Thank you. I'm Daryl Alexander. I'm a resident in Ward 6 for over 17 years. And it's a pleasure to second the nomination of Talisha Searcy. She is a phenomenal leader in our community and in our ward. I think she is a great communicator. She has also organized everybody in the ward in our different neighborhoods so that we all are consolidated in making our ward better and more vibrant. And Talisha, I hope will continue with another term on the council and continue her good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Were there other seconds to the nomination of Talisha Searcy for Ward 6 City Council member, or did we catch everyone? Want to make sure I haven't missed anyone. All right, are there any other nominations for Ward 6 City Council member? If there are, please raise your hand. I'm seeing no other nominations, so can we put up the poll to make sure that residents are okay with closing the nominations for Ward 6 City Council? So again, I'm seeing lots of yeses. Thank you for making the effort to do this. All right, so at this point, we will close the nominations for Ward 6 City Council member and move on to nominations for mayor. So are there nominations for the office of mayor for the city of Tacoma Park? And I see Catherine Desmond's hand up. So Catherine Desmond can went into the meeting and turn on your video. No, you're not Catherine Desmond. It's Jessica Landman.
Yes.
Jessica Landman, yes.
I have no idea how Catherine Desmond's name has appeared beneath my name.
Okay.
It's beneath my image, but
yes.
Hello, my name is Jessica Landman, not Catherine Desmond, and I have been a resident of Park Avenue in Ward 1 since the mid-1990s. And I am honored this evening to nominate Roger Schlegel as candidate for the mayor of Tacoma Park. I've gotten to know Roger as a fellow city volunteer and activist, and I see him as exactly the sort of leader that our city needs right now. We do face a lot of challenges, and our community is experiencing many difficulties and some divisiveness and lack of civility of late. There have been recent incidents with our police department, for example, that have been troubling. Now, national politics and the pandemic are definitely part of the reason, but our current local leaders also can play a role. And Roger Schlegel can change the tone for the better. I've worked with Roger, for example, in examining the city's budget and pressing the current mayor, city council, and city manager to make that budget more transparent, more accountable, and more responsive to the huge needs that we face, especially with COVID-19. Volunteers like me and Roger stepped in because we felt our current office holders were not getting that job done adequately. Using his master's degree in public administration and his significant experience in city government, Roger will work to change the way we budget when he is mayor. He will work for accountability, transparency, and clear priorities to serve those in greatest need here in our community. Roger will lead the city to a new model for city council meetings, one in which the mayor, the council, and the city manager actively listen to and respond to the concerns that people bring to council meetings. For instance, hundreds of people have come to council meetings to raise concerns about Tacoma Junction. Unless it's drastically improved, the proposed development there could harm our local stores and businesses and our nearby residents and our quality of life. Roger is going to lead to make sure that this project enhances our community life and protects local jobs. Roger wants us to move from gestures about racial inequality and climate change to meaningful action here in the city, like making sure that city-sponsored projects like the ones at the rec center, the library, and the junction that are all in the queue live up to our commitment to racial justice and to climate protection. I very much look forward to working with Roger as mayor to figure out how we can create a more affordable housing and livable community here at Tacoma Park and stick with our values. It will be inspiring to work with him to make our city council meetings once again a platform for real give and take. It will be reassuring to have more transparency in our city budget, to have open debates where all viewpoints are heard and acknowledged, to give residents a strong say in picking our new city manager, and to have him govern with transparency and openness. For all of these reasons, I am pleased to nominate Roger Schlegel for mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe, are there seconds to the nomination? And I believe Reginald Ruffin. Are you in the meeting already? Very sorry. Okay, Reginald Ruffin, you can be on video if you'd like and speak.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you see me?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I don't know if that's good for you or not. All right, I am Reginald J. Ruffin. I am on Kansas Lane. I am in the 3rd ward of the city of Tacoma Park, and I have the privilege, no, the pleasure, no, the honor in this historical moment in our city's history to second the nomination of Roger Schlegel. Here's why, and here's some of the things. He's a man of honor. I've known him for years. I've lived in this city for over half of a century, grew up here. He's a man of honor because what he says, he means, and what he means, he says. He doesn't just run for mayor just to run for mayor because he doesn't have those kind of political aspirations. He's running for mayor because he first looks at the community. He looks at the community from this aspect. He first started with his own community, his family community, and he got permission to make sure he could run. But we know that's the kind of honorable man that he is. And then when he did that, he realized that there's one family, one team, one community first. He doesn't just talk about things. We live in an area where we were one of the few places in Tacoma Park that did not have a park that we could walk a quarter of a mile from. One of the few places. After decades of the city saying, oh, we're going to get that park there. Roger worked with a group of people. You don't even hear his name, do you? But yet he was one of the ones and one of the main motivators to make sure that park could open. He realizes the connectivity in a community is important, but you got to be able to physically connect each other. They have a sidewalk project that they did that connected the community, and guess what? We're more open, more connected, more in touch with one another. One of the things and one of the main things he did, which went toward the overall community-wide, was the Tacoma Junction Task Force when he was a part of that. There were very, very, very diverse opinions, very diverse values, very diverse perspectives. Roger listened to every one of those perspectives and was able to, from those perspectives after listening, to pull together a vision statement that pulled together that community, that pulled together that committee. That committee came together, they came together and they functioned in a reasonable way. This is the kind of individual that he is. This is what he does. Even when he doesn't have political aspirations, he still wants to offer people a choice. So he ran for mayor, he's run for mayor, but he ran and he was unknown. He was unknown and got 40% of the vote as an unknown. He's much more known now. So with him putting that first, when he's looking at putting all these different things, all these people's opinions, all these different perspectives together and making sure that people are heard, that people are listened to, that people are done. He even during that campaign chose to run a positive campaign. He made sure that it stayed on the positive side, and he made sure that we looked at all stuff because they're different people and we have different perspectives and we're all going to have different points of view. That's okay. But having different points of view, he realizes that. And he still kept a positive campaign and still kept things moving forward. So I want to say that when we talk about community first, it means that you put the many before the few, because the corporation will put their interests first. When you put community first, you're putting those things that will benefit the overall community first, as opposed to just corporate interests. So when we do this and we see that we have an individual with such integrity, with such honor, with such dignity, it is more than my privilege to second the nomination after over half of a century of living in Tacoma Park for Roger Schlegel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ruffin. If there are others who would like to second the nomination, please raise your hand and we'll bring you into the meeting. I think I see Adriana Cunell. Adriana, did you want to speak?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening. I'm Adriana Cunell and I live on Tacoma Park for 25 years on 14th Avenue, Ward 6. For the first time, I feel we're going in the wrong direction. Since Mayor Stewart took office, the city budget keeps going up year after year and tax increases follow. I see constant hiring of police officers, But at the same time, I see the crime rate going up. I saw the approval of the Tacoma Junction project in spite of tons of opposition from the community. We need to change that. That's why I'm seconding Roger Schlegel's nominations for mayor. Roger cares about the city and is concerned about these same issues. He has been actively involved in Tacoma Park community affairs for the entire 18 years he's lived here. He has the qualifications and experience to lead the city, and we work with the city council and city manager to address the community issues and to properly manage the budget. Now I'm going to say this in Spanish. Sorry, interpreter. Buenas noches. Me llamo Adriana Quinel. Hace 25 años que vivo en Tacoma Park y por primera vez siento que estamos yendo en dirección equivocada. Durante los 5 años de gobierno de alcalde Stewart, los gastos económicos de la ciudad vienen subiendo todos los años y consecuentemente nuestros impuestos suben. La ciudad sigue empleando más y más policías, pero el crimen está peor. La ciudad ha aprobado el proyecto de Tacoma Junction, aunque haya una gran oposición de la comunidad. Necesitamos cambiar eso. Por eso hoy declaro mi apoyo a Roger Schlegel para candidato a alcalde de Tacoma Park. Roger se importa con la ciudad y también está preocupado con estas mismas cuestiones. Durante los 18 años que ha vivido en Tacoma Park, él siempre estuvo involucrado en las actividades de la comunidad. Tiene las cualificaciones y experiencia para liderar nuestra comunidad y puede trabajar con el ayuntamiento y gestor de la ciudad para atender las necesidades del pueblo controlando los gastos. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Gracias. Next, we have Cynthia Marielle. Ms. Marielle, are you able to turn on your video?
The video,
it's up to you, but
my plan was the video, and it says you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
Uh-oh.
Start my video, okay? Okay. The video is working now, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great.
Yes.
My name is Cynthia Marielle. I've lived in the city since 1986. Thank you for this opportunity to second the nomination of Roger Schlegel for mayor of Tacoma Park. The 2020 mayoral contest in Tacoma Park is not about who is the most intelligent or most progressive candidate. Rather, the 2020 mayoral race is about the fundamental issues of city budgeting, taxes, fiscal responsibility, community building, use of public land, water management, racial equity and social justice, community vision and development, and much, much more. This year, Tacoma Park voters are required more than ever to dig deeper and to learn about each candidate's platform, to become familiar with city issues, to rank personal and community needs related to city council decisions, and to read about and interact with candidates to tease out and evaluate their views and records. There is no doubt in my mind that the best choice for the next mayor of Tacoma Park is Roger. While working with Roger during the past 3 years on city issues, I have witnessed Roger's knowledge of public administration and city issues. I have valued his analytical mind that pours through complex issues and hefty documents to identify root level problems and creative solutions. I've benefited from his calmness and leadership that demonstrates tough questions are welcomed and all people's voices and thoughts are valued. I've observed and greatly appreciated his style of listening and building connections. The choice of Roger for mayor means you join with Roger in requiring transparent fiscal management with clear, measurable cost accountability. Your support means that you commit, like Roger, to not only prioritizing climate and environmental issues, but that you want to apply, you demand that such priorities are applied to development. Your support for Roger means you acknowledge the COVID pandemic and the economic recession are realities, and the city budget needs to reflect these realities versus approving soaring annual budgets and increased city taxes. You support for Roger means you recognize that stormwater issues and overall water management in the city is not working, and architectural plans that deny this reality are not acceptable. Your commitment to Roger means you strongly support racial equity and fair resource allocation to renters and homeowners of all economic classes and in all wards of the city. Your commitment to thriving local independent businesses for all businesses of Tacoma Park are broadly supported, and rather than limiting city support to businesses in Old Town or near the intersection of University Avenue and New Hampshire. Your commitment to Roger for mayor underscores that the newly elected council will identify an enlightened process for identifying candidates and selecting a skilled city manager who values democratic governance. In conclusion, Roger for mayor is a wise choice if you are concerned about the city budget, city taxes, traffic and safety issues, water management issues, protection of our trees,
Ms. Marielle,
and development projects. Moreover, the choice of Roger for mayor means you acknowledge the harsh realities of institutional racism existing within our city requires serious examination and reckoning rather than boasting.
Ms.
Please,
Marielle, thank you.
Roger Schlegel. Thank
you. Is Neri Duran on? Neri. Neri Licona Dion. Are you able to turn your camera on and unmute yourself?
Hi, can you see me?
Well, wait a minute, wait. Okay, go ahead.
Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Neri Durón Licona. I live in Ward 6 and have lived in Tacoma Park for nearly 30 years. I also second the nomination of Roger Schlegel as a candidate for mayor in the Tacoma Park elections. Roger understands that city budgets are about producing results, and he is sensitive to pocketbook issues. We need new leaders like him. The current leaders of Tacoma Park chose to increase my property taxes this year. My property tax went up about $1,000 this year. My brother and sister who live with me have reduced work hours at their jobs, and the extra tax is hard on them and us. And the current leaders also passed a budget of $32 million, but only expect to bring in $28 million. I am one of 18,000 Tacoma Park residents footing this bill, and I want a mayor who can lead us to have reasonable budgets and a smart tax policy. This is why I second the nomination of Roger Schlegel to run for mayor. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Next is Mike Tabor next.
Just wait.
Boy, I look dark. Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you.
Oh, okay, there we go. I've just come back from a farmer's market where I've been at this whole day. And I'm getting sleepy, but my name is Mike Tabor. I've lived in Tacoma Park for 32 years in Ward 5 on Erie Avenue. My knowledge of Tacoma Park and my desire to live here goes back to Sammy Abbott and Joanna Vogelsang, who I always went to as an activist in civil rights and anti-Vietnam work for their graphics ability, and of course was involved in supporting a long time ago Sammy and opposing the expansion of a roadway that would have divided the community in half. I'm not interested, even though I don't think you could see it here, but even though I've been working in what you would define as progressive politics for the past 32 years, I'm not interested in politics. I'm interested in getting people with integrity elected to local office. And when I first started, I wrote a column in the Tacoma Voice. I found that progressives were very shy about wanting to run for public office. And I nudged Jamie Raskin for 2 years in that Tacoma Voice column to run for public office. And eventually he agreed. And we have, I know all of us believe Jamie's been incredibly representational for the community. So my interest in, well, I'm also baffled by the failure of the present council and the mayor to try and get the community to work together on the issues that I'm concerned with. The primary issue being development in the junction. I can't comprehend why the present mayor, seeing a community as divided as it is, being willing to go ahead on development. I'm just, as a former admirer of the mayor, I'm unable to comprehend that. So with Roger, I feel both that he's a person of integrity, not of politics, of integrity, knowledge, and I think there's two professions that I admire the most right now. One is nursing and the other is teaching. Roger is a teacher, and anybody who's a teacher should be honored a lot more than now. And Roger, having been exposed to the way he listens, to the way he radiates integrity, the way he comprehends the politics of Tacoma Park, is someone I feel very, very honored to second as an incredibly good person running for mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Tabor. You've hit your 3 minutes and then some. So we're gonna just end it at that, and we'll call in the next person. But thank you for your comments. And so the next speaker is Marika Partridge. Are you on? Is Marika here? All right. Okay, I'm bringing Marika Partridge into the meeting. Just bear with us a moment, Marika Partridge. Are you able to start your video? Okay. I see that's not happening. Are there, if there are other people who wanted to second the nomination, please raise your hand.
Jesse, am I there?
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Am I there?
Yes, you have 3 minutes.
Really? Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. And I thank you, Jesse. And I would love to know the signer. Am I on?
Yes, you are.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jesse. I really appreciate this meeting. I'm Marika Partridge, Ward 1 For 33 years, I support Roger Slagle. Roger's an innovative high school teacher, and he's an innovative human. I have sat in a meeting with him and I've gotten to know him briefly. His field is human geography. He knows people, culture, economics. He even knows infrastructure. And as has already been mentioned, he likes water management and he speaks Spanish. Roger is a practical progressive with a long track record of public service. He's been on task forces and committees here. He's helping to assess and define what we call community. Roger supports parks and public spaces, and he wants to keep the city affordable and accountable. All right. I love Roger. He's not on a vector to rise to higher office. He loves being a teacher, and he's very good at it. After years of listening and participating at meetings, tracking promises, witnessing problems, Roger is stepping up. Vote for Roger if you don't want a high-end development at the junction. If you do want investment in shared resources, public spaces, parks. If you do want accountability from city leadership, it's time for a change. I appreciate Roger. We need his coherent vision for Tacoma Park now. Roger that.
Thank you. Barbara Arnold, did you want to second the nomination of Roger Slagle for mayor?
Yes, please, if that's possible.
Go ahead.
Yes, so I've been a resident on the Maryland side for a few years, and I've been to a number of the city council meetings and so forth. And I've been rather disappointed in how they're handled. I felt my voice was not listened to at all, in addition to hundreds of others. And I've had a chance to interact with Roger. He appears to me to be thoughtful, listened very closely, is in favor of town hall meetings, which I feel as a small community, we should be having town hall meetings so that it's very disappointing to go to a city council meeting and speak my say and listen to other people and then have everybody on the city council and the mayor nod their heads and smile like, oh, wonderful, yes. And then no feedback and it being to be ignored at each turn. So I'd like to see town halls. Roger's in favor of that as well. And I have been to international symposiums for urban renewal and development, and they all, the direction, the new modern direction in life is not to go the same old strip mall kind of, unthinking, uncreative direction. But there are so many different ways to use a space such as the juncture to benefit business, to benefit residents, to really think creatively. And with COVID, we have this opportunity to really look in new directions and to think differently. So I would like to see change at the city council level and at the mayoral level. I think Roger Schlegel would be a wonderful new opportunity for us to get back into community. And I think in terms of taxes and expenses, we have less than 20,000 people in Tacoma Park, and we're building a multi-million-dollar new library when there's one 2 miles away in Silver Spring. We're paying to have this juncture thing built. We are actually going to have our taxes raised and pay more. I'd like to see if we're a small town and we're going to support having a small town, I think we need to really reevaluate our budget and make it work for people. And that's my say. And I support Roger. And thank you for running. And I was in the educational field as well, and there's nothing more satisfying. And certainly it keeps you grounded. Thank you so very much to all.
Sorry about that. Thank you. I'm not seeing other hands. Were there other people who wanted to second this nomination, or have we gone through everyone who wanted to speak? Just want to confirm. Okay.
Hi, my name is Arson. For some reason, Zoom put me in as Catherine Desmond. I don't know what's going on with that.
Can you say your name again, please? I'm sorry.
My name is Arson.
Okay.
I live on Belford Drive in Ward 2.
Yes.
Hi, so I'm here to second Roger Slago's nomination for mayoral candidate in Tacoma Park. For the few weeks I've known Roger, I've learned that he's a man of very few words, given that he listens more than he talks, and that's very important when you're seeking out a leader. Um, a leader is supposed to listen to his constituents and hear the needs of those who he's gonna be making decisions for or working towards change for. And Roger has that like internally built in, given his background as a teacher. I'm also had the privilege of working for Roger's campaign as his social media intern. And for those who want to follow him, is just Roger, his name, FORTKPK, to follow up on his campaign news. And I'm here to say that Roger is going to be the next mayor of Tacoma Park because he has everything that we need as a mayor, and he will make the change that we're seeking for. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think the last one is Victor Owugo. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name.
That's okay. This is Victor Hugo. I'm actually a long-term Tacoma Park resident in Ward 5 on Roanoke Avenue on this side of the creek. And I am seconding the nomination for Roger Slagle for Tacoma Park Mayor. First, I would actually like to say that it's actually nice to see the diverse set of folks who are on this tonight. It's a microcosm of Tacoma Park, so it's really good to see. And I'm hoping to see more of that. And one of the reasons, for speaking up for Roger is just that very fact. We would like to promote more of that, would like to get somebody in Tacoma Park who's going to facilitate extending that, what we're seeing tonight, to see the diversity in Tacoma Park. So, that's good to see. In the time that I've known Roger, and I won't rehash some of the things you've already heard tonight, but they're very appropriate and they're very true. Roger's shown the candor and the transparency that Tacoma Park is actually needing at this time. There's a lot of critical issues that Tacoma Park is facing, and it seems like, we're kind of at a crossroads. And at a time like this, you need leaders that are collaborative, that are transparent, and are willing to not only welcome and engage dissension, but they'll actually engage and foster active collaboration. I think that's a critical skill that's needed for right now to want to bring Tacoma Park back to its roots, to its collective peace. And Roger, demonstrates all of the skills and facets to be able to do that. So for that and many other reasons is why I second the nomination for Roger Slagle as mayor of Tacoma Park. Thank you.
Thank you. So I believe that's everyone I had on my list, and that's all the hands that were up. So are there other nominations for the office of mayor? Please raise your hand if you have another nomination for the office of mayor. Okay. All right. Is Gannett Casa in the meeting? Are you able?
Yes.
Hi.
I'm here. Yeah.
Are you here?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to turn your video on?
Okay, sure. It's not, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not working, but we can hear you.
Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay, I can't turn on my camera.
Yeah, the camera doesn't seem to be working, but we can hear you very well. So if you want to go ahead and make a nomination, feel free.
Okay. Okay, hello, my name is Gannet Kasa, living in Maple Avenue, 6 house apartment. I nominate Mayor Kate Stewart to be my mayor for the second time. She has done so much to contribute to diverse community of Tacoma Park throughout COVID-19. She always makes sure that information is put in Amharic language so that information in the city available to the Ethiopian community. When we lost a dear friend and a member of our community, she supported us tirelessly through that difficult time, putting us before herself day and night. That was the moment we knew we had a true mayor. Mayor Kate Stewart has helped us in an amazing way. Vote for Kate Stewart. Can I speak in Amharic too?
Yes, ma'am.
የታኩማ ፓርክ ከንቲባ ኬት ስቱዋርት እንደገና በመመረጥ አጥጋቢ ስራቸውን እንዲቀጥሉ የምንፈልግ ምክንያት ባለፉት 2 ዓመታት ለማህበረሰባችን ሰፊ አገልግሎት መስጠታቸው ነው። በዚሁ ምክንያት ለሚቀጥሉት 2 ዓመታት በቀጣይ አጥጋቢ አገልግሎት ለማከናወን ለማህበረሰባችን እንዲያገለግሉን ከንቲባ ኬት ስቱዋርት ዳግመኛ ምርጫ መደገፍ አለብን። ኬት ስቱዋርት በታኩማ ፓርክ ለሚኖሩ የተለያዩ ህብረተሰቦች ብዙ አገልግሎት አበርክቷል። በዚሁም በኮቪድ-19 በአስከፊ ጊዜ ውድ ጓደኛችን በሞት ስትለየን ከንቲባ ኬት ስቱዋርት ዳግመኛ ደከመኝ ሳይሉ ከግል ህይወታቸው እኛ በማስቀደም ብዙ ሚዲያዎችን በማገናኘት ለውድ ጓደኛችን ቤተሰቦች ለተሰበሰበው እርዳታ ትልቅ አስተዋጽኦ አድርገዋል። ይህ እውነት ከንቲባ ለሁላችን መሆናችን አረጋግጠዋል። እንደገና ቢመረጡ ለማህበረሰባችን ትልቅ አገልግሎት ይሰጣሉ። በቀጣይ ይሆናል። አመሰግናለሁ። ገነት ካሳ። Vote for Kate Stewart, please.
Thank you so much. Next is Jocelyn DeHaas. Are you able to turn on your video?
Yep.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Thank you. My name is Jocelyn DeHaas. I am a resident of Tacoma Park. I live on 5th Avenue, 5th and Westmoreland, right by the VFW. I have 2 kids that go to school at Tacoma Park Elementary and Pine Branch Elementary. I own the Girl in the Vine in Tacoma Park, and my husband and I are full on Tacoma Park all the way. I am fully supportive of Kate. I second the nomination for her to be the mayor. My daughter is very excited about it because she and Kate share the same birthday, which means a lot to her. But from a point as not only a resident of this community, but a business owner in this community, me and my family are all in to making sure and ensuring that we all have a vibrant and robust community, and that includes retail. It includes the things that everyone wants to walk to. I walk to and from work most days. My kids walk here from school, and we really want to be a part of this community, and I think that Kate has helped us a lot in all of that process. There was an interesting conversation earlier about the co-op and how the development of that. And I would just like to say that one of the things that the co-op actually needs is a bigger walk-in, as they provide so much outreach to the community on Thursdays. Their pickups for all the immigrant communities around that need food, especially in this horrible time. My walk-in at my restaurant is full of the milk that was donated so that it can be donated out of the co-op. The co-op needs more space. And I think that that's something that is not something that's understood in order to provide all that needs to happen to be a thriving part of the community and a business is infrastructure. And it just, I have so many gallons of milk in my walk-in so that the people that need it the most can get it on Thursday. And I think that Kate she supported us, she supports everybody, and I support Kate. And I hope you guys continue to remember to, if I can say something personally as a business owner in this community, that the first thing that you should do is ask somebody how your day is going, because it's really, really hard for everybody here. And as a parent and as a community member, as a business owner, as a taxpayer on every level that there is, like, remember who lives here and supports this community. Kate is my neighbor. I can walk to her house. I walk past it every day, and everybody, I just really, really, really hope that everybody can remember that, like, that's what this community is about. That's why I moved here. That's why I lived here. This is why I have a business here. And I hope that everybody can remember that, because this is a unique neighborhood and I would not choose to live anywhere else because I love it here.
Thank you, Jocelyn. You've reached your 3 minutes, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's see, who's next? I believe Kieran Coker-McCabe, do you want to go next?
Sure, I can go next. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Kieran Coker-McCabe. I live on 13th Place in Ward 6. I'm so glad to be here to second the nomination of our mayor, Kate Stewart, for mayor once again. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the former and inaugural chairperson of the Tacoma Park Youth Council. In 2017, Kate established the Tacoma Park Youth Council, bringing more young people into the conversation about city issues and broadening the city's audience. During my time on the Youth Council, I worked with Mayor Stewart and the rest of the City Council to share a youth perspective on key city issues and increase youth engagement in our community. The Youth Council has enabled youth in Tacoma Park to be represented in local government and provide a platform that hadn't existed before. Kate has played a fundamental role in acting as a liaison between the Youth Council and the rest of the city government, and is always open to listening to any ideas the Youth Council presents to her. Mayor Stewart has always been a champion for young people, something that only strengthened when she took office for the first time in 2015. Under her leadership, Kate has passed a number of policies that directly and indirectly benefit young people, such as creating a more environmentally friendly city, and including young people of color's voices in the selection process of a new police chief. Even before being elected to the City Council, Kate proved she has always respected young people through her work as Executive Vice President of Advocates for Youth, a nonprofit that seeks to empower young people to advocate for honest sexual health information and access to health services. Kate has also been a constant advocate for including more youth voices in our local government. Even before joining the City Council, Kate testified in favor of lowering the city's voting age from 18 to 16 in 2015. It's important to note that Kate has been consistent in her beliefs on including more young people in local government. Back in 2015, when Kate and Roger were running in a special election for the Ward 3 City Council seat, Tacoma Voice did a piece about their stances on certain issues. Concerning lowering the municipal voting age to 16, Kate voiced her strong support with supporting research, while Roger opposed the measure. Roger stated that in his observation as a high school teacher, quote, 16 and 17-year-olds who are still living with their parents often unconsciously mimic the political views of their parents and are often bribed, coerced, or at least strongly encouraged by their parents to participate in activities that the teens themselves might not have chosen to do on their own, end quote. As an individual who voted at 16 in our city's elections, I know that I made sure I was informed on the issues and voted for the candidates that I personally thought would be best for Tacoma Park and my ward. And I know Kate knows and respects this. In fact, Kate believes in the power of youth in local government so much that our campaign team is largely made up of young people. Kate clearly practices what she preaches, and there's no one else I'd rather have lead our city at this extremely important moment in history. It's clear that Kate is truly for the empowerment of young people and believes that it will benefit Tacoma Park. That is why I'm fully in support of her candidacy to be reelected as our mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I believe that Jacquette Frazier was next. Ms. Frazier?
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. My name is Jacquette Frazier, and I live on Maple Avenue, and I'm proudly ready to second the nomination of Kate Stewart for mayor of Tacoma Park. I'm supporting Kate because of her dedication to children of color. She's always, every year, we've completed the 8th year. And I have always, whatever I ask Kate, she's right here, Johnny on the spot. She comes, she supports whatever. If we need her at one of our meetings, if I need her to support, and whatever happens on this street of Maple Avenue, this community, she's attended morning coffees. Her and other council members, early in the morning, we would go to other buildings throughout the city to find out what the needs are, let people know what the resources are. And I just so proud of her being able to be in office as a female, as a mother, as a resident. I just would like to thank her for what has happened. And despite the pandemic this summer, we did not cancel the summer camp. Instead, we conducted it on Zoom. And as always, Kate was speaking to the kids. The kids felt they were part of the community. Even some of the other council members, they all have been with me through this years of the Lunch and Learn camp, and they make the kids feel like there is a community that they are involved in. For the students, it's a special feeling to know that the mayor is willing to take time out her busy schedule to talk to them. It's a special feeling, and it's how much time and energy Kate puts in behind the scenes to support not only Lunch and Learn, but a variety of other programs that benefit families who need assistance. Kate is a mayor for everyone in Tacoma Park, no matter where we live, no matter what we look like. Thank you, Mayor Kate.
Thank you, Ms. Frazier. I think next on the list was David Blockstein.
Good evening. I'm David Blockstein. I live at 7016 Sycamore Avenue. I've been here for 25 years, so I'm not a young person in Ward 3. I'm proud to second the nomination of Kate Stewart to remain as mayor. And I want to talk about what a climate leader looks like. A climate leader listens to science. A climate leader listens to our youth, both of which are telling us the bold action is needed immediately. A climate leader sets ambitious but necessary goals, such as our 2019 climate resolution. She builds on our progressive values, going from nuclear-free to fossil fuel-free, ensuring that equity is front and center. She doesn't wait for national or state or county governments, but she works with our elected officials here in Montgomery County, organizing Democratic mayors around Maryland to support the Community Choice Energy Act, championed by our delegate, Lord Charkoudian. She walks the walk, saves money and energy, her money, our energy, our climate. She implements energy efficiency improvements in her own home and in city purchasing of efficiency, solar, geothermal, and wind power for our buildings, hybrid and electrical, biodiesel cars and trucks. She leads our community energy challenge, which negotiated discounts for city residents to switch to renewable energy. She converted our streetlights to LEDs, saving over $100,000 annually and reducing the city's annual electricity use by nearly 60%. She seeks expertise in data. She saved more than $50,000 by partnering with the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments to establish baseline greenhouse gas emission data for the city. She empowers and listens to her staff. In our Sustainable Energy Action Plan, we completed the first plan, and so now she's tasked the staff to update the plan with ambitious but achievable greenhouse gas efficient actions. She integrates across issue areas to ensure benefits and financial savings for all, such as energy efficiency grants for lower and moderate income residents. She works with the community and fellow council members, public discussion, consultation with experts, community and council hearings, countless individual meetings to pass a climate emergency framework resolution. She delivers, reduces greenhouse gas emissions, saves money, helps the community. Our local climate hero, Mike Tidwell, concludes, few local leaders are as focused and effective as Kate on this paramount issue of our time. This is what a climate leader looks like. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Black. I think next on the list was Christy Lopez. Ms. Lopez.
Hi, thank you. My name is Christy Lopez and I live on Westmoreland Avenue, and I've lived in Tacoma Park for over 25 years. And I'm happy to second the nomination for Kate Stewart to be re-elected mayor of Tacoma Park. I have been working on policing issues for decades, and I have found that one thing that people often don't recognize is that the level of government most critical to how policing happens in a community is the city level. And for me, one of the most critical issues facing Tacoma Park right now is policing, because as progressive as we are, our policing has some of the same unnecessarily harmful and racially disproportionate impacts as policing in many places that are far less progressive. Now, I know from personal experience that Kate Stewart has understood the need to reimagine public safety since before that was a catchphrase. My experience working with Kate on these issues makes me believe that she is the right candidate to help lift up Tacoma Park's renewed recognition of this issue and lead our community and work with our county and our state delegations to ensure that policing at the city and county and state levels is fundamentally remade so that whether a person is stopped by police, is arrested, is mauled by a police dog, or even killed, no longer turns upon where you live, where you are from, or the color of your skin. I believe this is the most important issue Tacoma Park faces currently, and I look forward to working on this vitally important issue with Mayor Kate Stewart.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez.
Thank you.
Next on the list is Chawanda Oliver.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
You bet, yes.
Okay, hold on, let me start my video. Hi, good evening. My name is Chawanda Oliver. I reside on Maple Avenue, Ward 5, and I am seconding the nomination to re-elect Kate Stewart as mayor of Tacoma Park. I have known Kate Stewart for several years, and I am impressed with all that she has done for residents of Tacoma Park, as well as the other presenters have said. Kate walks the walk with racial equity. She is holding the city government to a higher standard than before, and herself too. I took an 8-day training with her, and she had courage to step outside of her comfort zone to deal with implicit racism. And with all that said, especially with the condition of the country today, I proudly nominate Kate Stewart, second the nomination for Kate Stewart to be reelected as mayor of Tacoma Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver. Next, as a second to the nomination is Mary Beth Hastings.
Hello, good evening. I'm Mary Beth. I'm a 20-year resident of Tacoma Park. I live on Poplar Avenue, and I just want to say how honored I am to be in such company of the other people who are nominating Kate Stewart tonight. I'm just so impressed with this group of people, and it makes me proud to be among you. I'm so glad to be here tonight supporting the nomination of our mayor, Kate Stewart. 1 week ago, 126 women of Tacoma Park of all ages and of diverse backgrounds signed a letter extolling Kate's progressive and compassionate leadership and calling on our community to re-elect her. Since then, another 29 women have signed on, bringing our numbers to 155. We wrote this letter for Equality Day, the 100th anniversary of the constitutional amendment enshrining women's right to vote. And even as we see the shining examples of capable women leaders in our community, in our country, in our world, we know that not so long ago, women were not considered eligible to run cities or represent districts. We have learned what a loss it is when we underappreciate, undermine, underutilize the talents, the insights, the intelligence of half the population. These 155 women signed on so enthusiastically because we've seen Kate's hard work and leadership. She takes her service to this community so seriously. We've seen her compassion in making sure vulnerable families can access COVID tests and resources. We've seen her vision in combating climate change. We've seen her passion in listening to all wards of the city. We've seen her intelligence in understanding the minutia of our region's policies and laws. We've seen her dedication in fiercely defending our city's interests and values. And we've seen her commitment to leveling the playing field for the next generation of emerging young women leaders by giving them important roles in her campaigns. So it is with great pride in all that she has exemplified in her leadership that on behalf of 155 other extraordinary women of Tacoma Park, I second the nomination of Kate Stewart for mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Hastings. I think the next second is David Moon.
Good evening, neighbors. I'm David Moon, and my wife Linda and I live in Ward 4. We're on Ritchie Ave in that strange part of the city with a 20910 zip code. So I would like to second the nomination of Kate Stewart tonight. And I do bring greetings and support for this nomination from my colleagues also. Delegate Laura Charkoudian, she's also from Tacoma Park, Delegate Janelle Wilkins, and Senator Will Smith. So look, I don't want to tell you how to vote, but I just want to make sure that you are aware of work you might not see. And let me start with the fact that many of my colleagues in Annapolis, not from this area, do know who Mayor Kate Stewart is. And that's because she's quite proactive and vocal, and she shows up to raise the city's voice on renters protections pushed by Janelle Wilkins, affordable utility rates pushed by Laura Charkoudian, state bond funding for the city, pedestrian issues, things like what rules we should set for local police immigration enforcement. And believe me, on the last one, it's important because we get crazy elective sheriffs from conservative corners of the state coming out telling us to basically lock up people like my neighbors. And here we have Mayor Kate on the other side of it. So it's always welcome to see her there. And so again, I can only speak to what I've seen on a range of important issues. And I'm always glad to see Mayor Kate leading the city's voice in this debate. So look, if you're here tonight, you care about the fate of our city too. And in the coming weeks, we're gonna be Tacoma Park and we're gonna debate. But after the election, let's come together, let's work together, because I'll tell you, from everything I'm seeing at the state level, we are going to need each other in the coming months. So thanks for being there tonight.
Thank you, Delegate Moon. Were there any, that's everyone I had as signed up. Were there any other seconds to the nomination of Kate Stewart? Just want to make sure we've gone through everyone. I haven't missed anyone. Okay. So then let me ask, are there any other nominations for the office of mayor? And I am not seeing any other hands raised to nominate anyone else for mayor. So if we could put up the poll again. So let me ask the group if you want to vote to close the nominations for the office of mayor. All right. Okay. It's like voting slowing down. It looks like generally people want to close the nominations for the office of mayor. If we could take the poll down. I would ask at this point, we've gone through all the nominations for office. I see a hand raised. And I'm not sure what that means. Ms. Oliver, did you have something?
Yes, Jesse, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I would just like to take this opportunity to second the nomination for Ward 5, Jared Smith as council. Thank you.
Thank you. So the nominations are completed for the evening. I would ask the Secretary, Brian Ernst, to read the nominations that have been made so that so the group here and the public can hear the candidates that will be on the ballot for the November election. Brian, are you able to do that? Did I catch you off guard? Maybe I did. Just bear with me for a moment.
Jesse?
Yes, Brian?
Yes.
Hi,
All right.
would you be able to read the nominations?
Yes, I can read the nominations. I'll start with Ward 1. So for Ward 1, we have a nomination for Peter Kovar. No other nominations. For Ward 2, nomination for Cindy Dabala. No other nominations in Ward 2. For Ward 3, we have a nomination for Ollie Swires, and also a nomination for Casey Kostuk. No other nominations in Ward 3. For Ward 4, we have a nomination for Terry Siemens. No other nominations for Ward 4. For Ward 5 council member, we have a nomination for Sawa Kamara. And we also have a nomination for Jarrett Smith. No other nominations for Ward 5. For Ward 6, we have a nomination for Talisha Searcy, and no other nominations for Ward 6. For the office of mayor, we have a nomination for Roger Schlegel. We also have a nomination for Kate Stewart. No other nominations for the office of mayor. Those are all the nominations we have from this evening.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. I have a request from Eric Bond to be recognized to make an announcement about forums that he is putting together to be on Tacoma Radio. So Eric, if let's bring you into the meeting. We see you.
Okay.
But we don't hear you.
Okay.
Oh, there you are.
Thank you, Jesse. I wanted to just say a few words on behalf of Tacoma Radio. We will be holding election forums over the next 3 weeks on Sundays from either 1 to 4 or 1 to 3, depending on the week. This coming Sunday, September 20th, from 1 to 3, there will be a mayoral forum. And from 3 to 4, it'll be a Ward 3 forum. And then the following week, September 27th, will be a forum with candidates that are running in uncontested races. And then on October 4th, it'll be a forum for Ward 5. And I'll be putting out information as widely as possible, but I ask that members of the community also share the information. You can access Tacoma Radio at 94.3 FM or through the website at Tacoma Radio. And I also want to thank you, Jesse, and thank Alvaro and City TV for coordinating to also help amplify these forums even further. And if you have a question, I don't know if you can read this. You can send an email to editorbond@gmail.com or to trex@tacomaradio.org. So I want to field as many questions as possible from the community. And there are other ways to get in touch with me, and I'll try to put myself out there as much as possible so that you have that opportunity. Thank you very much, Jesse.
Okay, thank you. And we will help get the word out about these opportunities as well. I'd like to remind everyone still in the meeting that our election will be conducted mainly by mail. Every registered voter will be getting a ballot in the mail around October 9th. We'll send out additional information about that to registered voters. There is still ample time to register for anyone who is not registered. And we hope to have a record turnout for this election. I know people are focused on the presidential election, but what happens in Tacoma Park is also important. And we want people to remember they have to vote and they should be voting in both elections. As always, please feel free to reach out to me with any questions about the election, and we will get you answers. And I'm thinking that we will schedule a couple of Q&A sessions on Zoom for people who have questions, because I know there is some confusion out there about how this election is being conducted. So we'll be happy. We'll try to reach out a bit more and be available for questions. As always, I am really proud to work for the city of Tacoma Park and to work with this community. And the nominating caucus is really a high point, I think, for Tacoma Park. So thank you for your patience this evening with some technical issues. And if there are no other questions, I see some things in the Q&A box, and we'll answer questions that are in the box, but I don't see anything that we need to address. Is there a motion to adjourn the caucus? Could I have a hand raised as a motion? I see Basar Talat raised her hand. There are many hands, and may I assume that that is a second as well to adjourn the caucus for the evening. And I have a poll for that. So let's put up the poll and take a vote on adjourning for the evening. And again, thank you for your patience and for participating tonight. Great. Have A good evening. Thanks again.